All right, this army. By the way, we have to start first by talking about the three amazing shows of Markasam that we've had in Mumbai
Yes.
in June. भाई मजा आ गया. मतलब
Bye.
genuinely some of the best shows we've done in this entire Markasam India leg. And special mention to everybody who came for a Sunday show. I think हम लोग इतना excited
Oof.
और खुश निकले ना शो के बाद because it literally felt that सब दोस्त लोग बैठे हैं और हम लोग भंकस कर रहे हैं ब्रो साथ में बैठ के. Like the stories were great, even the audience interacting, asking us questions, poking holes in the story was so bloody good. So thank you to all you guys who came.
And that
Also,
particular
guys, the
show,
story that the audience person came on stage and it was a monkey story that we are not going to release. So that's what's awesome about the show. You have to come to watch this insanity that happens on stage for Markasam.
by the way, Sunday was also very memorable for me because it was Father's Day. We were
Yeah.
doing a show, and Ira and Siddhi had come for the show. So
And in true comedian's daughter style, one story was going on at the most opportune time that there could be. Ira has made a sound that fits so perfectly well
Yeah.
with the story
सब
that
लोग लगे।
everybody's like, एक मिनट क्या ये क्या
क्या sound effects?
फोड़-
सभी sound effects भी add कर रहे हैं लोग.
His production कर रहा है 4D. Bro, it was too good. So thank you to each and every one of you who've come for all the Mumbai shows and all the other Markasam shows. और जब इतना शो का बात कर रहे हैं, we cannot not talk about London Markasam, Toronto Markasam, पहले कनाडा. थैंक यू. मतलब सब बिक गया है. 20-30 एंड के बचे तो फटाफट लेके उसको सोल्ड आउट कर दो. लंदन में देयर आर स्टिल टिकट्स लेफ्ट, सो प्लीज लंदन वाले मेट्स, you buy the tickets please. खरीद प्लीज. मजा आने वाला है तुम्हें भी. assure you बहुत मजा आएगा
I
शो में.
like how Thakur literally did Namaste London.
Yeah. Please buy the tickets, please.
Please buy the tickets for Markasam and also my US store happening after that. Tickets and links are in the pinned comment below. तो जाओ टिकट खरीद लो और आओ और साथ में भंकस करते हैं मार्कसम पे. कूल. इसी बात पे स्टार्ट करते हैं आज का एपिसोड इन 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Internet Set. So, a show we take random introductions, facts, such and personal stories, and we talk about it. And today's episode is Binge List, part 5. मतलब हम लोगों ने लास्ट Binge List episode किया था 217, if I'm not mistaken, which was a good year back. So between now and then, guys, तुम लोग का क्या रहा है? मतलब show watching vibe क्या रहा है तेरा? कौतुक.
So I think since Ira has come, अभी मेरा चेंज हो गया थोड़ा.
तेरी OTT ही रहा है.
Change. So the thing that I have watched the most, if you ask me, the thing that I've actually binged the most is go to YouTube and type animals in 4K. The first video that has come.
4K.
Dude, it's so soothing, by the way. Okay, so if you go to this video, they just have visuals of animals, different animals, set to soft music, and so Ira loves it for the reason कि animals देखने को मिल रहा है मेरे को अलग अलग कि all sorts of animals, and the reason we love it is because it's unlike a lot of content made for kids. This is not cut. The editing is not really fast. The visuals are not really,
and the video doesn't begin with coco melon. Tadang, tadang, tang, tang. मेरे तो बच्चे भी नहीं है फिर भी मैंने कोको मेलन पूरा चाट लिया टॉप टू बॉटम. वो हेड शोल्डर नीज एंड टोस. और तू ये बच्चों की पटेली देखना आजकल के बच्चे. लगा एनिमल लेकिन 4K में चाहिए. समझा ना? तेरा मिलेनियल 144p मत दिखा मुझे. मेरे को मस्त पे के हाई डेफ चाहिए. मेरे को सारे कलर देखने, सारे साउंड सुनने.
No, and it's so interesting to kind of so we've been trying to keep her away from screens as much as possible because that's just like what we feel.
Yeah.
And dude, but they are so intuitive when it comes to screens. Okay, for example, Aadar and Varun had come over. Okay, we were doing rehearsals for Markasam, and he has picked up Varun's phone, and she's like, "Okay, I'll now figure out how to. Iska passcode kya hai?"
She almost got it. She was one number away from getting my passcode right, bro. That's freaky. That's freaky.
So there's that, and then obviously because also on Sundays what we do is we show her like some of the children's films. So as part of that,
Moana.
No. We rewatched Incredibles.
Oh wow.
So good, man. That was outstanding. But the thing that I saw for the first time, which I can also highly recommend in case you haven't seen it, is 101 Dalmatians.
Oh wow, bro,
Oh, these are
bachpan.
great. These are classic.
Yeah.
These are movies
But
that
wait,
were
this.
made ke adults will also enjoy it because they have to most likely sit with their kids.
Yeah.
But did you watch the original or with Glenn Close or there was a new reboot also, no?
The animated, it was
Oh,
made
animated.
Ah,
Oh,
the
okay.
original animation.
the
Yeah.
original one. So
Okay.
and you must hear the story of this particular the making of this thing. By the way, it's a spectacular movie. It is so rich, so heartfelt, so like what a beautiful story. That's one. But the second thing is the art style. So the art style of this thing, it's basically all hand drawn, right? So
Yeah.
if you see the behind the scenes of this now, you will see that these the animators,
Sa-
no, they were studying Dalmatians. So you see all these photos of these animators drawing with actual Dalmatian pups and Dalmatian dogs in the room. So उन लोग को study
Wow.
करके doing it.
I
And
think these guys just wanted to hang out with puppies and they're like, चल एक picture side में बना देते हैं. We'll justify it as us working.
And and the second thing about it was that if you look at it now, it's got this weird look to it. Now, the reason for that is because Walt Disney didn't really have faith in 101 Dalmatians. But
What are you saying?
yeah, they didn't have faith in it. So what they said is, ki, "Okay, you guys have drawn it, all of that, but let's not finish it. Let's
No,
not
no. First it was 100 Dalmatians. Then he talked to an Indian auntie. She said, नहीं 101 करो
उनके लिए
तो लकी होएगा.
अरे, एक literally उसका नाम लकी है.
Lucky है, correct.
हाँ, जो बच जाता है हाँ.
So basically, what I mean by unfinished is because like so when you animate something, right? So you basically you polish it, and then you like there are layers added to layers, and then your final composite is ready. तो इसमें वो लोग बोले कि ठीक है अभी 70% डन है चल निकाल देते हैं. And that's why the film also has this very unique, now it feels like a trademark art style, but it's actually just slightly unfinished animation. So it looks very distinct. What a beautiful story. Not just like Ira has at this point like a 15-minute window for watching things.
Hmm.
15 मिनट के लिए दिखती है मस्त डॉग हाँ
That,
ऐसे चल
Bhai, that is 14 minutes 30 seconds more than we do. ठीक है?
Yeah.
वो 15 मिनट तो बैठे हैं, हम लोग 30 सेकंड में ऊपर जा रहे हैं. नहीं नहीं, ये नहीं मजा है. ये नहीं मजा है. But for me, I think like how you have a like dedicated screen time कि इससे ज्यादा नहीं मिलेगा Ira. I think somebody needs to do that for Nikita and I, because either that or platforms start paying me for the amount of watch time I am giving them. भाई आधे पिक्चर जो ट्रेंडिंग नंबर 1 आ रहे हैं ना, वो बिकॉज हम लोग दोनों ने बैठ के 8 एपिसोड,
Oh, so you're
4 सीजन.
responsible for Royals.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I am.
I am
We
too.
watch Royals. We watch Royals on a hungover day, and you want to watch some. अरे चलना, कुछ ज्यादा सोचना नहीं है, देखना है. You would watch one episode. You would watch 2, but we said no, and we binged the entire
God.
season. 8 episodes. Just hate watching.
I really like how smartly they did the production of Royals, where they saved so much money on not giving Ishan Khattar shirts. It
A
was-
shirt.
Yeah. It's like सर सारा पैसा खर्चा हो गया क्या. अच्छा कॉस्ट्यूम डिपार्टमेंट सर आप जिम जाओ आपको जिम मेंबरशिप देंगे आपके कपड़े नहीं है.
But we'll
नहीं,
talk
but हम लोग we'll talk about Royals little later, but like
हाँ.
what I'm trying to say is that because we are sitting and watching so much, so you just shove your brain with like information overload and you watch it and you have a great time, and then 2 days later I'm asking her, acha listen, which was that movie that we watched, or which was that show that we watched, and we have to actually, मेरा तू notes खोलेगा ना, इस तरह मेरे को भेजा है, ऐसे एक लिस्ट है. बिकॉज इतना देखने के बाद तेरे को चीजें याद भी रहती है और तू भूल भी जाता है. इट्स लाइक दिस वियर्ड स्पेस दैट यू आर इन, यू नो व्हाट आई मीन. सो
Yeah.
बट आदर तू बता भाई, तू ओटीटी पे अपने आप को देख रहा है कि नहीं? टेस्टामेंट.
Yes. So things have been happening which are very new for me. So it's like I'm on my own platform, which is Angel Studios. So my new shows come out, and what I love is that these guys are actually doing like a YouTube live every week. So they're doing a weekly drop, which I think I have made very clear. I am always on board with a weekly drop as opposed to a full 8 episode एक साथ and binge. And I like taking that one episode at a time. So that's something that I'm really enjoying myself with. And now Testament as is a show about the Book of Acts, and we are all apostles of Jesus, and but it's set in 2023. So it's like it's a very man in the high castle, out of time look at the stories from the Bible.
Oh,
And
crazy.
that's yeah, so that's what it's set in today's London, and it's
And who do
like
you play,
Jesus
Aadar?
has just I'm playing Philip. So Philip the evangelist. So
Nice.
he's yeah, that's a character that's there in the Book of Acts. So it's like there was the original 12, and then there's the eight of us that were elected. There was actually a vote, and the eight of us were elected to actually. So that's I'm one of those eight.
But Aadar, tell us a little bit. So we've spoken about Canada, which you were also,
Hmm.
which you can watch it on
Hotstar.
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 And with this one, what was the production like? Because this was a fully a UK-based
There's
production.
a British production, American show. The
Indian actor.
the Indian actor, one Indian actor actually. Two of us were there. Yeah.
बट सच बता,
Uh,
मेरे को इसने ना कल ओपनिंग दिखा ना, आई फेल्ट वेरी प्राउड ब्रो। ऐसे आदर ने इसका ओपनिंग क्रेडिट्स दिखा है, तो आ रहा है
uh,
म्यूजिक व्यूजिक ये वो, और सडनली ना ऐसा आता है ऐसे आदर मलिक
yeah.
ब्रो। अच्छा भी लगा, और जली भी कि वरुण ठाकुर क्यों नहीं। बट नो, वेरी वेल
Why
डन।
it's so this because I showed it to my mom and everybody's like because that's a big deal. That name coming in has always been like because you're watching all these shows and you're like these nice like opening credits and you want that to happen for you. Shooting this was very different because so we shot 8 episodes in about 80 days, which for them is like we've shot at breakneck speed.
That's
Whereas in
because
India, it's a completely different story. How long did it take to shoot Shaitan Haveli and how much of a this for you guys in like pressure
23
that you
days।
guys had? Yeah, so
23
that's
days।
like for them 80 days was pressure. And for me it was like oh this is very आराम से I'm planning everything out. My scene अच्छा वो 73rd day पे जो scene shoot हो रहा है उसका मैं prep day 1 से शुरू कर दिया है कि okay I'll plan that out like that.
dude, all
तो
of
वो
us,
सब है.
the three of us have been part of a 6 or 8 episode show where we have done it in 2 days. And the second day,
Yeah.
we literally just were like it has been shot purely on Red Bull. Like that was like that was the main ingredient.
So we've done so it's like it's a very different way of like approaching work, and their pre-planning is like rock solid. Like जो shoot होना है वो वही दिन पे shoot होएगा.
Yeah, like
But
we've
that's why,
done.
guys, make sure you're watching Testament. Other, he'll put a link down in the comment as
Yeah, the
well.
link is
So,
down. You can watch it on YouTube. They're going to live stream every week, and you can go on various like you can go to the Angel Guild and actually take a membership. And I think right now they're running like a nice 50% off and stuff. So you can actually sign up to the Angel Guild and watch it.
okay, guys, so since this episode is called Binge List, I think it's the perfect time to tell you guys that we have a sponsor for today's video, and it is none other than the streaming platform MUBI. Now, it's great for us because MUBI is something we have recommended in the past, and it's something that we would have recommended anyway. But now, since we are here, let's talk a little bit about MUBI. So, Kautuk, can you please explain to the people who maybe not don't know much about MUBI, what is MUBI exactly?
Okay, so basically, Mubi is a streaming platform, but what makes this streaming platform very different is the selection of movies that it has on it. So on Mubi, you will find gems from world cinema, you will find art house films, you will find documentaries, you will find independent films. Basically, the way that you have like a comedian's comedian or a writer's writer. In that way, the films on Mubi are basically a film lover's films.
Correct.
There are very curated list of films, very, very interesting and good films on it.
Dude, the best part is, right, like most of the times when you are trying to watch something, your biggest thing is what to watch. What, because there's so much content available that you don't want to waste time watching something that is bad at the end of it. You know what I mean? Like, so when it comes to movie, the best part is that it's world cinema, right? So it's global cinema. It's movies that you heard of from back in the day that you maybe not gotten around to watching. It's new cinema. It's literally, you don't have directors, you have authors. You know what I mean? Like if I had to describe what movie is, it's not movies, it is cinema, right? So
Yeah.
if you're a cinephile, you love movies, or you want to just discover stuff, that you would not normally discover across the other platforms. I think Mubi is the perfect place.
Yeah, like a friend of mine had described it perfectly. He was like, movie is like having a friend who's really into cinema, who is just giving you recommendations. Like,
Yeah, but it's like it's great recommendations. It's
yeah,
not,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
the guy is just like, hey, तूने ये नहीं देखा? Yeah, and
yeah.
he's not shaming you for it. He's like, bro, देख, this will help you. He's never shaming you. So one movie that like I've just watched is this one, and I would really recommend it. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And the thing is, it's been on my list. There's movies that have been on my list for so long, and then suddenly they just like all show up in the same place simultaneously. You know, you keep this one note. ये सब देखने का मेरे को अलग से. And what I love about is the interface of this platform because it's got the few things that you want immediately. You want the rating मिल गया है. You want the synopsis है. But one thing that's really great is our take, which is
Yeah.
something I want an opinion. Okay, guys, please मुझे genuinely बताओ what
Correct.
you think of this movie, and that's something that really
This is
helps me make my decision.
Yeah, this is the kind of editorial thing that is very interesting about movie. Like when we talk about like curated lists, etc., it's like they're passionate about films and it shows. Like that's what that art take and all that is. It's a very interesting platform.
Dude, also when you see the selection of movies across, right?
Yeah.
Like we keep saying world cinema, world cinema. I think it's so important because through these movies, you're exposed to so many different stories, cultures, perspectives that traditionally your mainstream shows don't really go into, right? They are very fixed in, oh, this is what we show, this is what works, this is what, this is what people will get, as
Bhai ki
opposed
picture.
to bhai ki picture. Yeah, exactly.
Ah.
But like on movie, you have stuff that that bhai cannot remake into an action movie at some point because it's got a little bit more nuance, little bit more depth. And like, across the different selections that are there, like few that like really stood out to me. Like I love Korean cinema. Okay, I love Park Chan-wook's films. Old Boy, if you guys know. So the same director. There's a movie by him on Mubi that I watched. It's called Decision to Leave. Please check it out if you haven't. Fantastic movie. There is also Tarsem Singh's The Fall. Again, great movie about a stuntman who's paralyzed, but through fantastical stories that he says to another girl, he's able to live out, everything that he's not able to do right now. It's beautiful. It's poignant. So I think, stuff like that is what I would straight up recommend.
Also,
on
अपना
a movie.
Desi public, I've got Varun Grover's movie Kiss. So
Mm.
that's on movie, guys.
Awesome. Yeah.
Also, Ravish Kumar's While We Watched.
While
So
We
it's
Watched.
like great documentaries along with like incredible cinema.
Yeah. There's
Kautuk, तू क्या देख रहा है?
So I've made like a full watch list of things that I want to watch.
हाँ,
A few
of
things
course.
from there. So there's a very famous movie called In the Mood for Love. Very beautiful film. Wong Kar-wai.
Yeah, Wong Kar-wai, yeah.
Yeah. This is a film I want to watch now as a girl dad. It's called After Sun, which has Paul Mescal in it.
Correct.
It's a father-daughter film. Like it's just about like reminiscing about growing up with your dad.
Right.
Then there's a very interesting movie which is called Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters. Now, what's interesting about this movie is that it's by Paul Schrader, who's the writer of Taxi Driver. And this movie is about a writer called Yukio Mishima. And his story is incredible. Like if just look up Yukio Mishima, it's a wild story, this man's life. Like the fact that he was one of the most idealistic writers and his death happens because he tries to do a coup in Japan. And when that fails, he does seppuku and kills himself. Like it's a wild biography, and Paul Schrader's basically made a film on it. So really looking forward to.
Bro, when I was at film school, like this sort of a platform is something that I wish I had then. Because we would go across to different libraries, get those DVDs, etc., and try and find
for DVDs.
Beg for DVDs. Also, who's recommending? Like you need to find that one friend who sits and like you need an Anurag Kashyap. You know what I mean? Ki तूने Lars von Trier का वो picture देखा है क्या? Pedro Almodovar का देखा है क्या? So I wish I had this back then because when like it's a cinephiles platform, but I also feel it's a perfect platform for people who don't realize that they will actually like these movies
Yeah.
if they actually got around to watching them, So it's not something very like, oh, you need to know world cinema. You can know absolutely nothing about it, go into it blind, and then just let it amaze you. I think that is the best way to jump into
Yeah,
this
and
platform.
sort of like just to add to what you're saying now, like I think one of the other things about this, right, is that um oftentimes like you don't realize what all like the boundaries of cinema that you can push, right?
Hmm.
Because like mainstream cinema kind of like exists within one spectrum, right? So
Correct.
a lot of these films, when you watch them, you're like, oh my God, all of this is also possible, right?
Correct.
Within the medium,
Yeah.
which is what makes it interesting. That you can talk about all of these things, you can film things in this way, you can be experimental, and it's like so it sort of broadens your horizon as a person who watches movies and likes movies,
Movies.
right?
Yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like even the platform, the tabs are now showing. It's not like it's already like that's why you gotta like go through and everything, and it's like, oh, these guys have selected these things. It's like going to a cinema. They've tried to replicate that cinema. Like, अच्छा क्या चल रहा है देखो, और जाके हम लोग सेलेक्ट करके घुसते हैं एक स्क्रीन में.
Yeah. So the other thing that we want to talk about that has come to movie is Twin Peaks.
Bro, once again, just to give little bit context before, okay, guys, like we all love binging shows, we love murder mysteries, you name anything, True Detective, Fargo, Stranger Things, whatever you've seen across different platforms, and we love it. Like nowadays, it's become staple, right? But if you have to find one common thread between all of them, ask the people who've made this, and they will tell you one of our biggest influences has been Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And like, like because David Lynch, one of the best directors to ever exist, right? If you've not watched David Lynch's filmography, please stop everything you're doing and just watch it, because it's not something you can explain. It is something you just experience.
Yeah. That's what it's the music, the visuals, that whole surreal take on it. Then you've got this, these like the school kids trying to solve a mystery, which is a
Oh,
murder
wait.
mystery, but simultaneously अपना ये भी चल रहा है. हाँ, Kautuk, just give a overarching thing of Twin Peaks.
Okay, so before I tell you what Twin Peaks is, let me just tell you this. So basically, Siddhi and I watched Twin Peaks during the lockdown, okay, in the pandemic.
हाँ.
So the thing was that we were looking for, so both of us love like murder mysteries, and especially we love slow burn murder mysteries.
Yeah.
One of the most highly rated, if within that genre, one of the most highly rated, best entries is Twin Peaks. So we begin watching it, right? But nothing really truly prepares you for what Twin Peaks is. To give you a very superficial idea of the show, it is basically this, that the show is set in 1989. Okay? And Twin Peaks is a small town in America. And one particular day, the body of a high school girl called Laura Palmer washes up onto a riverbank. And that sets into motion an investigation that brings FBI agent Dale Cooper to Twin Peaks. And you begin to realize that the murder mystery is just the tip of the iceberg.
Tip of it. Yeah.
Underneath it is a vaster, weirder story that involves the entire town and all its inhabitants, and it brings you into contact with all their lives. And as it unfolds, right, I cannot tell you how strange, how bizarre, how captivating it is. Because
Correct.
as it begins to unfold, you get hooked by the murder mystery, but you stay for all the stories of the people
Of
that
the
are in this
people,
town.
correct.
It's truly
Yeah.
The most interesting thing was because I watched Twin Peaks quite some time back. Okay, so now because of movie, I was able to revisit it. But I remember at that time, like trying to geek out on it, and literally one thing that popped out was that TV shows had a certain format, right? In the late 80s, early 90s, कि नहीं, TV show ऐसा बनता है. Again, very safe. Oh, we know this works. Oh, this is what people want, so we'll give them that. So at that point of time, to be like David Lynch or Twin Peaks bana is taking a complete right turn from what you expect from a normal TV show. You know what I mean? Like in today's day and age, when you watch these TV, or fuck, yeah, idea bahut acha tha. Oh, this was really well done. No, that was very well done. But all of this at some point of time has already been done in Twin Peaks. Right? Like you said, it started off as a murder mystery, then goes into this surreal, dream-like scene, then goes into horror, then there is comedy. Like even now, in pop culture, significance of Twin Peaks is so high. If you ask people, cherry pie and black coffee, they'll automatically know what you're talking about. It's something you guys will also realize when you end up watching the show. So
Yeah, like
yeah,
we've
Also,
been.
the thing is, for me, I'm the guy who has started watching Twin Peaks now. So Varun Kautuk put me onto. You know how you tell somebody, "Oh God, I wish I could watch it for the first time again." I get to be
yeah,
that guy for the first time in my life. So
Yeah,
I'm on first season abhi mera hua hai, which is insane. As a like
Hmm.
the cliffhanger on the first season end is great. So it's just I'm watching this from the perspective that, oh my God, this was made in 1990. So it's
yeah.
like, oh, so all my favorite shows, I'm getting to make those connections now at this age after having watched so much.
yeah.
Correct.
Like one of the things that was very interesting about it, about Twin Peaks in particular, okay, was the fact that it's a very, very so it has this clashing contrasts, okay, set in a
Hmm.
very idyllic small town, but the the stories are extremely murky. So it's the kind of stuff that you see nowadays in modern storytelling, right? Where
And it's so prevalent. Like every
yeah,
second show, you see murder mystery, small town, some person dies, investigator comes in. But they have a very linear, you can almost predict, so to speak. Like, but when you sit and watch Twin Peaks, you cannot predict where it's going. You will not be able to.
yeah, and I must tell you this also. If you are going to watch Twin Peaks for the first time, you must go in with a very open mind and think of it.
Ah,
Think of it because, like, that's another thing that's very interesting about Twin Peaks. Very ahead of its time in that sense, that it does not conform to any single genre.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so you have to. It's one of those things. It's like, and I think David Lynch is very sort of famous for this. It's very dreamlike.
yeah.
In the way that you're,
yes.
in some of your dreams, that it begins as मैं स्कूल में हूँ और फिर उधर से तू जुपिटर पहुंच जाता है और फिर तू एक earthquake में है और फिर तू it's
And
and when
Kautuk
you're
is not
dreaming
even exaggerating at this point. He's
yeah
not.
and when you're dreaming you don't ever stop to think कि अरे मैं कैसे पहुंच गया इधर क्या हो
Correct.
गया it just
You just go with it. You
you
just
just
go
go
with
with
it.
it. So the visuals of this thing, the way that the story flows, you must there's been very few things like it. It's
Correct.
truly one of those things where it's so singular in what it's sort of like how it's put together. You'll
Yeah.
find very, very few comparisons to this kind of thing.
In fact, after the first two seasons, right, they also had a limited series come out in 2017, which follows all the characters 27 years after the
25 years. Yeah.
25 years after the first two seasons. They've actually used some of the same characters
Yeah.
and how they've aged and all of that. Like these small. It's not like they suddenly went, okay, now David, now we'll get some other guy. No, it's David,
Hmm.
but 27 years later. I'm just using it as a name right now, but you
Uh-huh.
get what I'm trying to say. So
So,
yeah,
one of the things, by the way, I have to tell you this. Uh, so when Twin Peaks was airing, okay, it was such a big hit, and people were just to kind of explain to you the magnitude of this show, okay, like how
Hmm.
big it had become. So there are two anecdotes, very, very, very fun. Okay, so everyone was watching Twin Peaks, and the central mystery of Twin Peaks was who killed Laura Palmer.
Laura Palmer. Yeah.
So the first anecdote is about Paul McCartney of the Beatles. So Paul McCartney is performing for the Queen of England. Okay. So he's about to perform for her when he meets her and he tells her, it's a big honor. I'm here to perform for you. I can't believe it. It's amazing. She says,
Hmm.
I'm so sorry, Paul. But I'll only be here for the next 5 minutes because at 8 o'clock Twin Peaks is starting and I want to go see it.
Wow. क्या बात कर रहा है?
Yeah, so she said, Paul McCartney,
Insane.
तू ठीक होएगा तू बीटल but मेरे को थोड़ा
एंड पॉल इज ऑल्सो लाइक ओ क्या बात कर रहे अरे अरे मैं टाइम डिफरेंस नोटिस नहीं किया मैं तो अमेरिका में था तो अभी वो भी भाग के जा रहा है मैं 5 मिनट में कॉन्सर्ट खत्म करके
मैं भी
भागता
बैठ के
हूँ
देखता हूँ तेरे साथ.
Now, the second anecdote is even better. Okay. So, geopolitically, the impact
हाँ
of Twin Peaks. So, 1990, okay,
हम्म
the Cold War is still, it's ending, but it's there. And a person who was a big fan of Twin Peaks was Mikhail Gorbachev,
क्या बात.
who has famously picked up the phone, called George Bush Sr., and asked him, Who
Bata.
killed Laura Palmer?
Come on.
Can you believe it? Can you believe the fact कि like this is one use of power ना कि मैं
That's
टीवी को देख रहा
insane.
हूँ, मेरे को
हाँ
पता करना है कि बाद में क्या होता है, तो मैं प्रेसिडेंट को फोन करता हूँ कि तू बता। तो
और वो बोला, देख भाई, तू अगर बर्लिन वॉल गिरा दिया ना तो मैं तेरे को बताऊंगा कि
हाँ
इसने किल किया लॉरा पामर को। तोड़ दो ये दीवार, आइए देखना है मुझे। तो गाइस, इफ मिखाइल गोर्बाचोव, द क्वीन, पॉल मैकार्टनी are sitting and watching Twin Peaks, you should too.
yeah.
You should too, definitely.
And like just a few other things about David Lynch, the director and creator of Twin Peaks. He's also he's now passed away, but he was
Is
Hmm.
a visionary, singular, iconoclast, and like eccentric.
like Mulholland Drive, bro. Mulholland
Yeah.
Drive, Blue
Yeah.
Velvet. Like you
Yeah.
all, like if like in film school, I remember we used to sit and just, भाई क्या बना है दिखा दे, because at that point of time, that is my homework, that is my classwork, that's my everything. And to suddenly see all of those movies, like I've gone into a bit of a nostalgia trip, by the way, on movie, because all of these movies that we were told to watch in
Exactly.
film school and all of that are just
अभी तो
there, and the
15
amount
साल
I had
बाद
to
होमवर्क कर रहे हैं।
homework. Literally ऐसा है, bro. So anyway, I think just to cap it off, movie is the place that you guys want to go to if you want to check out highly curated, really good films, not just mainstream Hollywood movies, but from across the globe. We get exposed to like different cultures, different stories, different authors, whether they're independent filmmakers or filmmakers that are revered and legendary. You'll find across the board a whole bunch of these movies, whole bunch of these directors, and whole bunch of amazing cinema that you can discover on Mubi. And because you are Tis Army, we have something special for you, right? There's a link in the pinned comment, and if you go click on that and sign up on it, you get 1 month free membership on Mubi, which I think is a great thing for you guys to do. So jump on it right now, Jao, sign up karo, and get yourself exposed to some amazing world cinema. And who knows, you can become next Anurag Kashyap. Okay,
Yeah.
boys. So tell me, agar main तुमको बोलूं straight off the bat, one show or film that you watched since the last binge list that's top of mind, that you want everybody should jump on ASAP.
Okay, I am a little proud of this because you discover an artist before they become super popular. So I had been watching this guy and he'd already become very popular on YouTube and he makes YouTube movies. So everybody's talking about, hey, अपना बहुत कम attention span है ये वो. This guy is called Kane Pixels. Okay, and this guy makes horror found footage, but like it's one person lost in a mall. But understand that everything you've been watching for the last 45 minutes is all computer generated.
Oh, wow.
He's that good at creating an entire copy of a mall on his computer. Like it's an entire CG mall. So there's one which is called the Rolling Giant. And it is so creepy because if you're wearing headphones, it's this you alone in a silent mall and just the camera. And now I find out that Kane Parsons, who's the guy, he's a 19-year-old and he's been picked up by A24 to direct one of his movies. So he's the youngest director that's been picked up for a multi-million-dollar franchise by A24 to do. He's got another series called Backrooms. So just go check out Kane Pixels. It's the creepiest thing you'll watch. And आराम से अकेले बैठ के देखो.
Yeah, for me, if there's one show, I mean, there's so many, but I'll start with one that is full top of mind. And for me, that is The Studio on Apple TV. Seth Rogen. It's about this guy who starts heading a new film studio, and like everything that can go wrong, like the behind the scenes of how stuff happens. But what really like stands out for me is just the way it is shot, the way it is written. It is so bloody real. Like I feel these are the kind of shows that are appealing to me so much more, where characters don't speak in dialogue. You know what I'm trying to say, that it seems like an everyday conversation that you have. The situations they find themselves in are very real. And then obviously cherry on the cake is how you shoot it. Like they have this one episode which is shot entirely in one take. It's called The One, or their the season finale. By the way, special mention to Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston is in this show. You'll see him a little bit in the beginning, but in the finale 2 episodes, what Bryan Cranston has done itself should tell you why he is right bloody up there when it comes to acting. He is
Yeah.
basically tripping balls in this episode, right? So you
All
would
of
think
them
that,
are.
oh,
All of
yeah,
them
yeah.
are
But I'm saying
tripping
they're
balls.
tripping balls, they're on mushrooms. But one is how you show it, and one is how you show it, but still a part of it seems like believable. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's so bloody well done. It's funny.
Dude, there's so much improv because they've committed to a long take. So the entire cast is running together and they've committed to that. So I read one thing about the girl who used to be his Seth Rogen's assistant, then she becomes like a bigger producer and so. So
Yeah.
so her character on mushrooms has basically, she's committed to Bryan Cranston ne kuch khana khaya, so she's rubbed it on the walls and stuff. So they're trying to find Bryan. So she's committed to licking everything. And she's like, I spent 6 hours to the point where वहां पे elevator का button है वो भी चाट रही है. Now she's like, I've committed to it. Now I've committed to the whole 7 hour shoot of me just licking random surfaces. And it's just stuff that you made a decision with and then you're sticking to it. And it's these little stories, which is this so good to watch.
Like this thing was also recommended, studio was also recommended to me by other friends. And I feel like this falls into the genre of TV shows about movies or movies about
movies.
that sort of thing. And I think it hits us harder.
Way harder. Yes,
Because
absolutely.
we're in the media space. So
Yeah.
like what this friend of mine was saying was, he's also like a writer. So he was saying watching, like, it's billed as a comedy, but when you're in the media and you watch it, it actually reads as horror because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, now I
Yeah.
can finally see how these stories that I'm writing are getting rejected on a daily basis. Why these people are behaving the way they do, the decisions they make. So so if you're in the media space, so definitely do.
Definitely. But I think even if you're not, right, just the way the entire show is put together, it is phenomenal. That's one. The second show, like we all grew up on a steady diet of Friends, right? Like to a point where even like people who were born 10, 15 years after us still watch Friends. Even the new ones are still watching it. Now that sort of set a template, right? Oh, Friends living together in New York or whichever part of the world, right? You had How I Met Your Mother. In that vein, there's another show called Adults. It's on FX. Okay, and I think it's got a whole bunch of SNL writers and improv comics, etc., who've come together. Nick Kroll is the one who's put the show together. Dude, if you like Friends, you will love this. And the characters are completely different. It's not just the premise of 5 friends living together, but it's set in today's times. It's set in Queens. They're not in Manhattan or anything. They're in Queens. And again, such a real show. It's basically set like these 5 kids who are in their early 20s, because when you're a teen, you're very young, and then if you're over 25, but there's that 20 to 24, right, where you are still very confused about what it is that you want to do in life. Where do you want to go? What does your career have to be? Who are you? What is your voice? But it doesn't become existential. It becomes so funny and it is so well done. You should jump on that ASAP if you want like a fun watch which you're not like invested in.
Have you noticed that I've just realized this with the watching stuff, like for movies we want to go more fantastical nowadays, which is stuff that is not, we want to escape. It's an escapism for theater, like going to the cinema. And with TVs we want it more real. It's become weird. We've gone from sitcom to more real stuff as much as possible, like fumbling, this, that. Like, the studio has that element of people just like the way you would talk. It's not, everybody doesn't know exactly what to say.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, but I also feel like now, what's also going to happen is that, for example, like a House of Dragon, etc., right? Like, so you also have this sort of coming into television, and in general, now with AI, so it will become even more. It gives you the access to go into crazier worlds, which you could because of scale.
Correct.
I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared of that stuff because there's some studio heads or somebody who's given interviews going like, okay, guys, AI will create shows based on what you want. So they'll make up shows.
Yeah.
So your entire browsing thing will just become, oh, this is something that Kautuk would be interested in. So it's just a book rendition of his favorite. Like it's just it's an AI generated TV show from Kautuk's favorite book that has never been shot. It's just AI has made this show, and Kautuk is sitting and watching 8 episodes of it because he just likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and since I'm recommending comedies, so Studio is a comedy, Adults is a comedy. There's another show called Deli Boys. Okay, Deli, not Delhi ke Londe, Deli Boys, Deli,
Delhi,
Deli
huh?
Boys. Superb, superb. Again, a show made by a whole bunch of Indians, Pakistani, Southeast Asian representation, where they have written it and they are also acting in it. So you will see a Pakistani guy, you will see an Indian guy, you know. So a representation makes a big difference because again you're able to see like it's not the same. अच्छा अमेरिका में ये होता है ये white family के साथ, not like that. Like it's you're getting different perspectives and it's great to see अपना कलर वाला पब्लिक कुछ बना रहा है. You know what I mean? और अच्छा बना रहा है. Very very funny, very good.
What
So
is the
Delhi
premise?
Boys. So basically these two brothers, they run a chain of your supermarket type, 7-Eleven type होता है ना.
Oh, Delhi, huh?
And like a Delhi, but like it's
Huh.
and their father dies. And the entire business is left to these people. So they assume, oh, it is regular business, right? Out of the two brothers, one is a full like, I do drugs and, you know, I hook up and I'm into like spirituality, but, you know, the American kind of spirituality. So very disconnected. You think that he doesn't know anything. He's not going to be good for anything. And the other end, you have this other brother who's very like, I have a plan. This is the business. This is how we'll do it. This is that. Except the business isn't what they think it is.
Okay, say no more.
It is a front for something else. And then what happens? And you know the girl from Delhi
Okay.
Belly, Purna Jagannath,
Jagannathan, huh?
she's in it.
Jagannathan,
She's
huh?
also in it. Very, very funny, very well written. And again, like, you know, one of those that तू देखा 25 मिनट का एपिसोड है 30 मिनट का 6-7 एपिसोड देख लिया मजा आया you get out feeling हाँ chill light हाँ मजा आया good fun, you know, that kind of show. So these are the three I would recommend from a comedy perspective. One very different angle which blends comedy, little bit of mystery, little thriller, so to speak, is Your Friends and Neighbors. John Hamm
हाँ,
on
देखने का है
Apple
मेरे को.
TV.
I saw the
Must
trailer.
show.
हाँ.
Like apart from like it's a fun show and all.
And all of that, no?
Ha. So he loses his job and then he spirals down into a very different trajectory. But again, social commentary bhi hai, but not in a way where it's in your face. Plus, beautifully shot. So, you know, sometimes you watch shows just for the sake of, bhai, mere ko ye dekhna hai, must. You know, the lifestyle of the rich and famous and you're seeing all of it. So, too much fun. And sorry, since I am talking, I will say one more show that's blown my mind. Mobland.
ये क्या
Mobland.
है?
Again,
Mobland,
gangster.
हाँ, Mobland, yeah.
Tom Hardy-Pearce Brosnan-Helen Mirren.
बाप रे.
So you have a hardcore star cast and it's a gangster drama created by Guy Ritchie.
Oh,
Superb
I'm
show.
sold.
And like,
I'm sold.
I can watch 10 hours of what's his name? Tom Hardy.
हाँ.
Like he's like this, no? And he's this, like he's the right hand of this one big gangster family. And just the way he talks, just the way he is. After a point, so we finished this show and Nikita was like, "Yaar, Tom Hardy ko miss kar rahe the." We just start watching Tom Hardy movies because we miss, you're missing the way he's speaking or, you know, so superb show, Mobland.
But
So,
Havoc
wo
देखा
देखो.
था. The latest thing I saw about Tom Hardy was Havoc. Have you seen
What a
Havoc?
bad film, very bad.
Yeah,
I hate it.
some shots are really fun. It's just that like extreme action.
Yeah, but
तो
overall
वही
very
है.
disappointing.
Tom Hardy को देखने में
Havoc.
मजा आ रहा है. हाँ.
हाँ, सिर्फ उसको देखने में मजा आ रहा है.
I've realized my sort of like binge for media consumption patterns, they've basically fallen into a few things, few trends or themes. One is obviously horror. So horror, I've got a good bunch of recommendations. The second is some old movies that I hadn't caught up on, which I still think that they had immense like rewatch value. And the other two categories are books, obviously. I've got a few book recommendations. And the last category I found very interesting because this is something new that I sort of got interested in, which is live theater, like stage plays.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, that I would like to talk about in a like slightly broader this thing. So basically, like, okay, so let me start with the first thing, which is the best thing I have seen recently, the absolute best thing, which we've already spoken about earlier, but worth bringing up again. The best thing I've seen has been Sinners.
Oh
Sinners.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Has
Hands
one of the
down.
best things
Hands
I've
down.
seen. And it's masala, horror,
Sab kuch.
drama, it's beautiful. What a beautiful film, and like visually also stunning. Music,
Social commentary, bro. Social commentary भी घुसा दिया है.
we saw it twice in the theater. Like it
Hmm.
was so beautiful. And I've spoken to so many people about it, which I really, really enjoyed. And I'll just sort of get this one other best recommendation out of the way, and then I'll talk about other stuff. The other best recommendation is a book I read, which is Arvind Adiga's Last Man in Tower. Okay.
This is the White Tiger guy, right?
Arvind Adiga is
Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
who wrote the White Tiger. Last Man in
Huh.
Tower. I love it. So if you are especially if you are watching this in Mumbai, it will hit you very hard because the story of this book is that there is a building in Vakola, okay, that is going into redevelopment, and one guy decides to hold out. Okay, he's the last man in tower, and it is
Oh.
just why he holds out, what happens to his neighbors when he holds out, and the consequences of it. Beautiful story that tells you that paints a very Mumbai picture, a depiction of a modern Mumbai, a 2011 Mumbai. The various connections that are involved in the redevelopment process, and just how human nature gets warped under pressure and greed. Beautiful story.
इस पे जब पिक्चर बनेगी मैं जरूर देखूंगा.
हाँ, exactly. So, ये थे मेरे best recommendation. I'll come to the other ones later, but I want to talk about
Hmm.
theater thing, which was very interesting. So I got interested in it because I had an idea for a stage play. So I was like, let me go see, what, like, just sort of look, like, go and actually be a theater goer, see what's happening, etc. And man, like, here's the thing I want to talk to you guys about. So what I've been feeling off late, especially in this, like, there's this weird slump that's going on in the movie scene, right? Where uh you just feel like the movies aren't exciting enough, they aren't good enough. Sometimes you go for the movie, you come out and you're like, yaar, 2 घंटा waste हो गया, पैसे भी गए, time भी गया. And I felt like with the theater productions, they tended to be way more rewarding emotionally, the storytelling of it, and more memorable than some of the middling movies that you come out of the theater watching. Now, obviously, not all plays are amazing, etc., etc. But the ones that hit or the ones that are really good, I think they might be better than, like, more memorable, more like visceral than.
So no, that's a great. So the whole AI thing that is happening, कि अच्छा ठीक है, AI will make movies, AI will make this, and गाने आ जाएंगे, आ जाएंगे. There was some interview with some guy who runs like sports. He's like, because now they started doing robot boxing in China. I
Hmm.
don't know if you guys have seen this.
I
Actual
saw it.
robots boxing.
Yeah, yeah.
इस पे
So, but
पिक्चर भी
he's
बना
like,
था ह्यू जैकमैन वाला.
Yes.
but it's like what he was saying is, that's a weird dystopian reality, but ultimately human beings want to watch the endeavor. So sports will never be replaced. You can never get the high from a robot that you'll get from Ronaldo or Messi.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You want
that
to
is
see
never,
other
and
people.
similarly, I think acting also will go on to stage. You want to watch the human endeavor of
Yeah.
doing a scene
That's
live, and I think that might supersede what might happen. I think that might be the next avenue where, oh, this, like how the Quartz watches or all these Apple watches were great, but then that made the Swiss watches even more important.
That's a
so.
good point.
To kind of add to this now, like, the other advantage of theater is basically this. So what's happening with movies currently is that movies are a profit, it's a business more than it is an art form. So vast amounts of money are being put into making movies, and when you put that kind of money into something, you want you want to have the least risk. So what happens
Hmm.
is that the movies get watered down, like the themes that you're trying to tackle, the kind of subjects that you want to talk about, they get very, like, universal and bland, right? So what happens with theater, because, like, you don't have these constraints of big budgets, etc., etc., you can actually tell more interesting stories. And I think in like today's day and age, you want, like, more, like, specific stories. You want
Yeah.
stories that are, like, have, like, shades of nuance, not just black and white. You want those kind of stories, right? Wo abhi, like, you can find in theaters, and I feel like like, at least, like, I've been so exhilarated by it, and I'll tell you a few plays that I saw. So I saw there's a Tafri wale production called I Killed My Mother, It Was Not My Fault.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is quickly. Okay, and few things I liked about it. Very simple, beautifully told story about a relationship between a mother and a daughter, and also a depiction of what it is to be living in a phone-saturated, internet-saturated age. Okay.
Hmm.
Apart from that, it was also one of the the first, like, a very Gen Z production. So it was like a very like new age thing that it was very fun. The other one that I saw was Rakesh Bedi in a Vijay Tendulkar play called Massage. It's a one-man play where Rakesh
Oh,
Bedi,
wow.
yeah,
Hmm.
he plays 24 characters. Okay,
Insane.
one play, and it's been running for a very long time. Um,
Yeah, since I started doing theater, which is like almost over 20 years ago, his shows were always the ones that were like, oh shit, like you got. I've seen it like when I was 19.
Yeah, and it's the thing that surprised me. Like, I feel very foolish for the fact that, like, I don't know why I never considered live theater as a thing that I could go to. You know, when you think of ये कुछ करते हैं आज, you don't
Hmm.
consider that as part of your thing.
Yeah.
Correct.
So just that was one interesting thing. Adar, what else have you seen?
I have, so the thing is like with a lot of plays and also the one thing that I wanted to bring up is like हम लोग we're trying to do a lot of like with why you're liking this live element. Like why that live element is special is because I when we rehearsed the plays with Rajat Kapoor, so me, Vinay, Rajat, we were improvising. So it's all device theater. So literally that experience is curtailed to that show. That audience is specifically getting parts of that show
Yeah.
that will never be repeated, which is and you know and I had to convince Kautuk to tell him the experience I had creating those shows, which are devised plays. You create a play is the same experience I've had with Uncensored and Markasam.
Yeah.
So we've actually adopted that without realizing it because we do shows, we do trial shows, and then we create a script, and then and literally that's how we do shows with Rajat. So we are doing that, and that's special because again, last night's show is never going to
I'm
happen
gonna
again.
come back. Yeah.
So that
Right.
it's special for you to be in that room. That's why like theater is so important that when it's always been special to me. So I'm great that now I have someone else
Yeah.
who is like who's
Sure.
gotten bit by the bug.
Yeah.
और ये प्ले जब पिक्चर बनेगी मैं जरूर देखूंगा.
And Thakur, this thing, the most surprising thing that I felt, when this started happening. So I told a few friends that, hey, I'm going for this play. And two of them, independently, have said this one thing, ki, oh, so classy of you.
Yeah.
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 And I'm like, I never thought of it as like, कि ये कुछ, elite public
Hmm.
जाके देखता है. I never thought of it like that. I think it's like,
Correct.
it's a democratic thing. जाके देखो, मजा आता है.
देखना चाहिए भाई, because what you guys are saying is bang on. I also went to watch my friends play recently. AK Various, Aadhar and Akash Khurana,
हाँ.
they run the theatre company, so they did external affairs. And I was watching a play after I think
Ages.
10 years.
Yeah.
हाँ.
10 years. The last play I saw was a Nasiruddin Shah play 10 साल पहला, और उसके 10 साल पहले मैं एक प्ले में एक्ट किया, उसका प्ले ही नहीं देखा. एंड देन व्हेन यू एक्चुअली वेंट टू वॉच इट, यू लाइक भाई ये it is really good. It's so
Yeah.
impressive. It is so impressive where it doesn't only like amaze you, but it also sort of challenges you कि देख
Yeah.
भाई public क्या क्या कर रहा है. So what is your excuse? Get off your ass and
Like,
start doing it.
Hmm.
remember when we went and saw what is the thing we saw at West End? The South Park.
Book of
हाँ,
Mormon.
Book of
Book of
Mormon.
Mormon, man. Like, what a great experience that was, right? Like,
Yeah.
the way that everything, the scenes change seamlessly, the way that like your set design, your everything, it was so beautiful.
Very nice.
And it's
But coming back
Yeah.
to film and this, एक picture मैंने
When-
कल रात को देखा. It's in my head
हाँ.
fresh, so I just want to say it. It's also got to do with podcast. Okay, so it's got BJ Novak in it,
oh, I know
who's
this.
playing the. It's called Vengeance. Okay, he's a typical Brooklyn guy, works for the New Yorker, etc. And he's a part
हाँ.
of this hookup culture. On apps you meet like different girls, you're hooking up with different people at the same time. You don't consider it as a relationship, but you don't know what the other person is considering it as, etc. So one day he gets a call saying your girlfriend is dead. So this guy is like, who, what, when, हाँ, एक किसी का तो नाम लेता है लड़की का. ठीक है, she is dead and her funeral is there. We would love for you to come in. we know how much you meant to her, this, that. And this guy is like, bhai, ek minute, ye kaun sa hookup hai jiske funeral? So he still goes for the funeral because the brother who's called is crying and this and that. So he goes and he's just there now. And literally after that, the events of that unfold 2 weeks after that, where the brother's like, listen, I don't think she died. I think she was killed. And you and I are going to find who the murderer is. And iski batti chamakti hai that 1 minute. I have come from Brooklyn. I am in the ass crack of Texas, which is a different country, which is different people, different thought process, different everything. This will make for, and he believes that she has died of natural causes because of her opioid addiction. But they feel otherwise. So he decides to do a podcast on it. So it becomes an exploration of, that part of the US, how divided the US is, how different it is, compared to all the cities on the West Coast, which are more progressive, and, we know our thing, and we don't believe in QAnon, and hum log conspiracy theorists nahi hai, aur in log hai. So it starts off like that. So well done, bro. So well done. Keeps you hooked. Again, very well written. भाई पब्लिक कितना अच्छा लिखता है मालूम है. कभी कभी मेरी देख के इतनी जलती भी है कि भाई हम लोग क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे. हम लोग ऐसे, मैं, नॉट द फिल्म इंडस्ट्री एट लार्ज, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट मी, कि हम कभी कर पाएंगे. मैं कभी कर पाऊंगा ऐसा. इनफैक्ट रियल पेन देखा, कौतुक, रिमेंबर आई वाज टेलिंग यू अबाउट रियल पेन, जेसी आइजनबर्ग एंड कीरन कल्किन. So well done. What is the movie? What is the movie? It, like, what if a vlog was a movie, right? But the themes that are explored, they're not in your face, but still on the bottom it is there, where it's not shoved in your face, okay, this is the meaning of this movie. No, but when you watch it, like, by the end of it, there's something about it that you feel good getting up after. You know what I mean? Vaisa.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, this is what I
Yeah.
mean, like, a lot of, like, for me, what's happening, like, I think, you started the podcast by saying, ki, how have your tastes changed, right, since the last binge list? I genuinely think, like, something has definitely shifted in me in the last few months, where I think I'm done with, like, junk food consumption. Like, I want some nutrition in my content. Like, I don't want to just, like, एक है वो genre है जहाँ वो royals और तेरा
नादानिया और वो सब है.
traitors and all of that, like, it comes in, like, overall, and I think it might be a function of growing older. Okay, I have limited time. I'm a father, all of this is also happening. So when I do find time to consume something, I want it to have richness to it. Like, कि करने के लिए देखने के लिए नहीं देखना है मेरे को अभी, like.
Right, that's so true, because that's become a shift in Nikita's thing also, right? मैं rated 5 on IMDb भी देख रहा हूँ और मैं rated 10 भी देख रहा हूँ. मैं देख रहा हूँ क्योंकि मेरे को मजा आ रहा है. मैं देख रहा हूँ. I don't sit. But, like, Nikita actually has been doing this thing where she is literally, like, scouring Reddit, going on, like, different forums, this, that, and, like, a whole bunch of stuff that we have watched in the
It's a commitment.
in the last
but
year
it's like
or
a
so.
commitment, na yaar, because you
No, but
don't
that's
want
what
it.
she's saying the same thing. She's like, अगर हम लोग टाइम निकाल के देख रहे हैं तो अच्छा देख रहे हैं. मेरे को देख, कचरे का टाइम आता है कि मुझे कचरा देखना है, वो टाइम आता है तो तभी देखेंगे. But on a day-to-day general basis, when you're trying to watch something, it better be some bloody good shit.
Yeah,
So,
देख, जब हम लोग को, मुझे और अपर्णा को सोचना नहीं होता ना, हम लोग ऐसे करते हैं, आदर zombie सर्च कर. We just put on something involving zombies.
TV पे भी zombie, तू भी zombie.
But one great thing we've done is we don't have a TV anymore. We have a projector. We have a projector.
oh, of course.
So the projector is straight on the wall, and the good thing about the projector is it's that, that weird uncanny valley that we've started getting, because all TVs have been made this super high def 4K, which is great for sports, not great for film. Like, if you
Why?
watch Jurassic Park and stuff like that, the special effects, you can tell that, for me, it started affecting me. That little magic of that little blur, that, like, weird thing which happens when you're projecting on a wall or a screen is a completely different experience. And then
You want to watch a
commit to
movie
it.
in bad quality. Bad quality.
No,
देखो,
it's
वो
not
करना.
bad quality. It's not bad quality. It's projected. It's a very different idea of
So
it.
you're
Like,
getting a
when you
bigger size, now. What else is it? Is it?
bigger size, nahi, it's that little, I can't explain that little film grain. Yeah, that it's dirt on the screen. It's one of those things that you're getting lost
Actually
in
dirt
it.
on your wall, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's on my wall.
But I got to also tell you about a few films that I saw. So, ek to, by
Hmm.
the way, ye re-release. So there was an Aamir Khan film festival that happened no, in the middle.
Ha.
So,
Hmm.
Which
from,
all seven of Amir Khan's movies were there.
no man, like he's one
That
of
he's got,
the
he's done a
directors.
lot, yeah. But it's just
There are
you
two,
think of him like अगर एक साल में एक picture कर रहा है कितना क्या होगा? No, it's a lot.
but
भाई लेकिन
बहुत.
30 साल से काम कर रहा है भाई.
I
हाँ.
don't know if I mentioned it already in the podcast, but or in one of the episodes, but we went and saw Sarfarosh again, and
Yeah.
Hmm.
man, that film holds up. Like I think best police procedural ever made in Bollywood.
In Bollywood, yeah.
Hard to
Bro,
top.
most of Aamir Khan's movies, man. Like if you like you go back and you
Sare,
start in the 90s
must
till
have.
right now, 9 out of 10 of his movies, you will be like easy rewatchable.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Hmm.
like meaningful, something more than the usual garbage that shoved down your throat.
Yeah.
So
Must.
that's why he's
Especially
definitely
like
one of my
Thugs of
favorites.
Hindustan. Like
हाँ
Quentin
देख वो
Tarantino
कचरा
said Thugs of Hindustan has been one of his best movies. Like Quentin Tarantino loved it.
Then
and
in
then he woke up from his dream, sorry,
Yeah.
nightmare, where he liked Thugs of Hindustan.
dude, by the way, I must tell you guys this. There is a film that I watched recently. It's an old film, 2007, 8, something like that. It's more
Hmm.
likely from there. But there's a Spanish movie called Rec.
Hey, what up, buddy? What up? तू बता दे फिर मैं तेरे को अपनी रैक की स्टोरी बोलता हूँ.
So I would recommend this movie highly.
I
क्योंकि
am looking it up. Huh?
बहुत
Found footage.
found footage है. The premise of the movie, I'll just tell you the premise and nothing more. The movie starts with a news reporter in Spain, who does she does a particular like a program about things that happen in the night, okay, while people are sleeping, right? So, and this particular episode, she is going to be following a firefighting division in one Spanish district, and as she is filming them, they get a call that something is happening in a building and the fire department needs to step in. And from there starts one of the most harrowing films that you
Relentless. Tap,
relate.
tap, tap.
It
Oh
is
my God.
surprising, relentless, unique, and truly like the best way I can describe it is the last 30 minutes of this movie feel like 2 hours.
How have I not seen this zombie movie? I'm shocked at this.
Please
But the
watch.
thing is, don't think of it as a zombie movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Huh, but like it's
so
this. How have I not stumbled across this? I'm shocked.
Beautiful.
so
It
you
is.
know what we had done when we were rehearsing for Question Mark, my debut film, which was a
Hmm.
found footage genre film. The entire cast and the directors have sat and charted any and every good found footage genre film that you can think of. मैंने देख लिया है.
Yeah.
और उसमें the one that blew my mind the most was Rec, because it is like it elevates the genre. You know what I mean? Like Blair Witch Project introduced you to the genre. It introduced you to like, oh, ऐसा कर सकते हैं. You know, Rec takes it higher, where
It
there's
improves.
so much filmmaking involved to make it look like it is just shot on a camera corder. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that shows the genius of the movie. So definitely Rec.
And it solves the one major criticism of Blair Witch Project, which was that very little happens in Blair Witch. In
Correct.
this,
Yeah.
we wished ki little less happened.
Less happened. Correct.
बहुत
Correct.
ज़्यादा था. And it just
Correct.
grabs you by the throat and then it like chokes you out.
Also the justification of why the camera is on, वो सब तो जो typical तेरे genre questions होते हैं. Now since we are in this horror space, right?
Yeah.
Like after Get Out, if you notice that there's been a sort of
I'm
rise
so
in
happy
movies
about
where
this.
like it is
I'm
horror,
so happy
yes,
about it.
but
Yeah.
it's not just jump scare horror. Oh, डर
Yeah.
गया. Oh, उसका मुंह उल्टा है, पैर उल्टा है. Oh shit, क्या हुआ? Where it goes deeper. So Get Out got your social commentary into in this horrorish space, right? On the similar lines, there's another movie Zoe Kravitz has directed it. It's called Blink Twice.
Yeah. Channing Tatum, है ना?
Oh yeah. The island
Channing
wali
Tatum
na.
है उसमें, island
हाँ.
वाली. Bunch of people come to an island and then slowly things are not what they seem and shit starts going wrong. It's only in the second half that you're like, oh wait, ये चल रहा है. So I don't want to say what that is because that will like
Sure, yeah, don't.
give
हाँ.
out the entire plot of the movie. But Blink Twice it's not horror per se, but it sort of fits in that thriller, whatever you
Dude,
want to call it.
I'm looking forward to the guys who made Talk to Me. They've come up with a new movie that's supposed to release now called Let Her Out. First of all, all these titles are making it so interesting. It's just that. And then 28 years later. So I'm looking forward to watching these movies in the theater. I'm not like, it's not
No,
superhero
no,
movies. It's
we
not
are
this. It's this Sinners. I want to go to the theater to
we
watch.
are in a horror revival for sure. This is a golden period of horror which people will look back on and be like, "Arey, kya?"
Which comedians are leading? Which a
Yeah.
lot of comedians are leading.
And by the way, Aadar had been telling me about Talk to Me since it came out. I
Yeah.
finally got around to watching it. If you haven't seen Talk to Me and you're a horror fan, please do watch Talk to Me. It is a very unique take on it. And speaking of unique
Mm.
takes, one of the most unique films, again, it's 2-3 years old, but I saw it now. Incantation. It's on
Oh,
I
Netflix.
have not watched it.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
told these two guys, hey, do watch Incantation because it does a thing with found footage, which is so interesting, so elegant, and um, it justifies why this film was made in a way that is elegant and nice, but also as you watch it, it's so horrifying, and you're like, why hasn't anyone thought of this before? Please watch
Correct.
Incantation. And as a parent, it hit me even harder
Yeah.
because yeah, it's the uh, possession of a young girl, and what
Okay.
happens there. So crazy film.
Okay,
Guys,
speaking of
अगर
horror,
अगर sorry,
speaking
horror
of
बात
horror,
करो.
speaking of horror, let's talk about Royals. Uh, just some hate watch. What kind of hate watching have you
Bro,
guys been doing?
can I tell you when I put it on, there was no intention to hate watch.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to be like, चल, अरे high budget, ये वो plus मैंने कौन बनेगी शिखरवती किया था, which was about royal family, उन लोग
That's
भी होटल
Loki.
चालू कर, हाँ हाँ, plus अपनी
Oh,
दोस्त भी है, bro.
yeah.
My friends
Hmm.
casted for it, so like a lot of people are involved in the making of it. So it wasn't, I didn't watch it with the intention to hate watch it,
Yeah.
but then you started, and then you let 15 minutes go, 20 minutes go, you let one episode go, and then you're like, bhai, I'm sorry, I gave it a genuine attempt. लेकिन क्या है यार, bro, there was such random shit happening. It was random. Like you're just like, why?
But are they doubling down on this? Because a lot of stuff now you're just like, ये जानबूझ के कर रहे हैं बहुत लोग. Are
No,
they
I don't think.
gen?
I don't think they thought कि हम लोग ये बनाएगा और hate watch आएगा लेकिन लोग देखेंगे. I
But
think they
a lot
had
of
their
people,
head in the right place, but the execution of it was towards the end. I was like, I wanted to shoot myself, bro.
the only thing, like, here's the thing, right? The only thing that was missing in the rom-com was the romance. Like,
Yeah.
like everything
Like
else.
it just didn't work for me on many levels. You
Like,
know,
so what, like, for example, some of the good stuff in it, right? I thought the sibling, the depiction of
was nice.
that was, I think, one of the best depiction
Yeah.
of a sibling relationship that I've seen in recent times. Like, it was very like real and like uh, uh sort of like nice.
Hmm.
But yeah, like it was just so for example, Siddhi and I, we started watching it because so Siddhi has been looking forward to rom-coms. She loves rom-coms. They've become like fewer and harder to find. So when Royals, you see the poster Royals, the premise is interesting. Ki there's a prince and a normal person get together. How does that happen? All of that stuff. Amazing. So we started watching it, and halfway through it, she also says, you know what? A better version of this was actually Khoobsurat with Sonam
Sanjay Dutt.
Yeah.
Sonam Kapoor and Fawad Khan.
नहीं,
Okay.
the other one. It's still a better version. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, that was like a really well done like version of this sort of like premise. And she's like, yeah, the thing that was missing was the romance. We've in fact, speaking of romance, she's looking forward to Materialists with Dakota
Hmm.
Johnson,
Pedro.
Yeah, yeah.
Pedro Pascal, and Chris Evans. We have to see that. But we started watching this beautiful movie called The Birdcage.
Oof.
Oh, Bird.
It is.
Sandra Bullock, beautiful. Bird
Yeah,
Box,
it's one of the
no?
best
That's Bird Box.
comedies. What? No. अबे,
That's Bird Box.
but
That's horror.
हाँ.
नहीं वो डब्बा है ये अच्छा है. This is nice. This is a good bird
तो ये
cage.
कौन सा
No,
है?
but this
I'll tell you. So हाँ.
This is Hank Azaria, Robin Williams. I think it's one of the
Oh,
best
Nathan Lane.
comedies. You want to watch people do physical gags
Dude,
on film.
you must
It's
listen to
like,
the premise.
yeah, wow.
So this film
Like,
is a
hmm,
1996 film. Okay. The premise of this movie is gorgeous. The execution of it is gorgeous. Like, so the film is basically क्या होता है कि Birdcage is a nightclub, okay, where
more burlesque. No, more like a, not burlesque, more like a
yeah, drag queens come and perform. So
drag. It's a,
a nightclub where drag queens are performing, okay, and it's owned by this gay couple who are played by Robin Williams and Nathan Lane, okay. So Robin Williams, back in the day, had a drunken affair with a woman, and out of that, a boy was born. Okay, now 20 years later, this boy has decided to get married. He's getting married to the daughter of a conservative politician. The
nice.
politicians want to meet the parents of this boy. So now these flamboyant, this flamboyant gay couple have to put on an act of being a normal conservative
straight couple.
couple.
Nice.
And basically how that uh, just the farce of that situation, the execution of that thing, and also the heartfelt, the punch of the fact that at this one moment where this son asks Robin Williams, right, Dad, I need you to act like this for me. And Robin Williams rejects it initially. And the sentence he says, right? He says, it's taken me 20 years to accept who I am, and I don't want to change it for anybody. Like just that underlying this thing of what is quote unquote normal, what is abnormal, what is straight, what is gay. Like it's just all of this done through comedy, through the
Nice.
Yeah, it's beautifully done. And then there's Hank Azaria,
yeah.
who's it's this. He's why it left an impression on me is because Kautuk knows this. I'm physical comedy. I love it. Like a good physical gag. I cannot give it up. I will do a pratfall. I will do. एक scene है उसमें which has nothing to do with the story. It's just Hank Azaria is so used to being barefoot. He doesn't wear shoes. तो यहाँ पे उसको butler बनाया. So he's wearing formal clothes and wearing formal shoes for the first time. And they're slippery. Those formal shoes are... It's just him trying to navigate. जैसे कुत्ते को वो पहनाते हैं ना, and the dog keeps slipping. Him doing that is physical comedy gold. Him just trying to walk. There's just one shot. It has nothing to do with the story, but it's like so beautifully done, and it made me laugh my ass off.
Dude, I
Nice.
think like also worth talking about, what's happening, and you can blame sort of, like, I'm sure as writers, like all three of us, we've come across all the Zack Snyder, not Zack Snyder, there's that Save the Cat book, screenwriting tips and
Sid
books,
Fields.
Sid Field and all of that stuff, right? So what happens is that basically storytelling has been reduced to beats and points and इसके बाद ये होना चाहिए, इसके बाद वो होना चाहिए, इसके बाद ये होना चाहिए, right? And stories faithfully follow it. But what tends to happen is that these stories seem to then lack like a humanity that is there. No, not art. Just one. Sometimes you want a scene there just to emphasize that people love each other, that these characters, exist together in this world, and like it exists to enhance that immersion in that world. Right? It doesn't.
There's a story about Miyazaki like this because I think it was Spirited Away or one of these movies where it was a 2-hour movie, and of all people, Harvey Weinstein was releasing it in America for Miyazaki, and he sent an email or something to Miyazaki to cut half an hour to make it a 90-minute film because it's a cartoon, children will watch for 90 minutes. Miyazaki sent him back a samurai sword with a note that said no cuts. Fucking
Crazy.
integrity. Talk about integrity.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like that's some of the stuff that I feel like we should add back into movies.
By the way, if I finish this episode without giving Nikita's recommendation, she's going to be very angry because उसने बैठ के पूरा curate case. She said, by the way, you have to tell everybody watching that 9 out of the 10 things that we have watched, I have only recommended. So yes, that is true. She has recommended, but couple of things that she said you have to tell decided me to watch. One show is called Pose. It's about the trans movement in the 80s. So it's got everything from music, dancing, thriller, cop, drama, everything put together. Heavily influenced by Madonna's Strike a Pose song, the title is. And one of the best shows. She's after my life. Watch it. And I'm always, hey, मैं Mobland देखना है, ये देखना है, वो देखना है. So I'm also going to start watching it. तो तुम लोग भी देखो. One is called Pose. The other one is called Nobody Wants This. And Bhavto, you should maybe tell Siddhi because agar rom-com pasand hai, so this is one of the, it's got, what's that guy who was in OC? And I forget his name.
The curly hair guy.
Curly hair guy, na? He's there. So it's this podcaster doesn't
Oh
believe
yeah,
in love.
it's a rom-com. It's one of the new rom-coms that's actually good.
Everybody's loving it, and she falls. I mean, it's about her relationship where she falls in love with or is hooking up with a Jewish rabbi. ऐसा कुछ तो है, and how that clash happens. And but she said, please watch it again because of the realism in it. You know, like when people talk, it doesn't seem like तू किसको acting करते हुए देखना. It feels it's easily palatable, and it's one of the best new rom-coms that she has watched. Then she's asked to watch Palm Royale. I have not watched it, so but you guys,
Pan Bahar.
Pan Bahar ऐसा करें यार, देखो. Palm Royale is another show that she said everybody must watch. Then what else? Yeah, then she's gone into reality TV. She's like, भाई Real Housewives तो देखो ही.
Hey,
The
मैं
Valley
Traitors
भी.
देखा. Did you guys see
अरे
Traitors?
भाई मैंने भी देखा 3 एपिसोड है. टाइम पास है.
I really enjoyed I enjoyed the concept. I mean, it's basically mafia,
Mafia, yeah.
but with very good production. I enjoyed the drama of कि वो तो meaning intrinsically you're invested, right? कि you are
Correct.
the creator who's not, all of that. I still feel like जो tasks हैं, we haven't gotten anybody to design better tasks than Brody and Spitzel.
The
That's
tasks
still
are really bad.
the high benchmark.
You want better tasks? Watch $1 Million Secret.
वही है ना
Way
कि
better task.
mafia type.
Yeah, but it's not like Khatron Ke Khiladi tasks. It's within the house. So the manipulation that's happening within the house is way better because you have to, the task is basically you gotta get Kautuk to touch his nose 5 times without him realizing it. So it's so simple. And it's like, but Kautuk is on the lookout for somebody trying to do something out of the ordinary
I
because
don't
that's
want
a
to
task
give
for.
them an advantage. Yeah.
So that's what. So it's like everybody's aware of everything, but it's like it's a way better, more fun way of looking at it. I enjoyed that.
What was that reality cooking show that you guys mentioned sometime back? I forget.
Yeah.
It's really good.
British Bake Off.
No,
not Break Off.
It's a South Korean show. It's called Culinary Class Wars. Okay. Culinary Class Wars. The best way to describe it is Squid Games meets MasterChef. Okay.
Sold, sir. We are sold.
It is so crazy.
So people, they just kill the chef if he doesn't make something good.
No. Mine was a murder, but basically the way the sets are designed, the way that the tasks are designed, the way that they are executed, like it's so combative, it is aggressive, it is but it's also at the same time very, like, it expands what you think a cooking show should be, right? It's
Nice.
very, very interesting. Do check it out. Like, we had a lot of fun with it.
By the way, one thing we were shitting on some stuff. I forgot one thing that I want to shit on. Okay, which I'm very pissed off about. Jesse Armstrong, creator of Succession, one of the best shows to have come out in the recent past. I absolutely love. Great. I was super excited about his new HBO film coming out. It was called Mountainhead, which has Steve Carell in it. And I'm like, maza aane wala. It's about billionaires, this, that. देखा है?
नहीं ना, I heard not so good.
मैं देख रहा हूँ, मैं बोला okay. See, again, it's got the classic Jesse Armstrong stuff where conversations हो रहा है, right? So every bit is like nice repartee, back and forth conversation, which was great. It's about 4 billionaires who meet and like how they plan on taking over the world and all of that jazz. But like I was left so like hoping for more type na in it कि भाई when you set the bar up so high and then people expect at least that, if not better. So तेरा थोड़ा भी कम होगा ना तो यार मजा नहीं आया। और मैं
Yeah,
ब्रो
yeah, yeah, yeah.
निकिता तो गॉड एंग्री, खत्म हुआ ना शो, शी लाइक यस आई वाज वेटिंग, नाउ आई कैन गो, शी हैज गॉन ऑन सम फिल्म रेटिंग वेबसाइट एंड गिवन इट अ थम्स डाउन,
Wow.
given it a 1 star. She
Jazbati.
was just, she
Hardcore.
was very, very angry with this.
Hardcore.
She never does that otherwise. She's like, नहीं, इसका करूंगी। और जाके you also talk on the podcast about how bad it was. I think that's her agenda now कि माउंटेन हेड की बजानी है। So yeah,
I
ये
just
है
want
मैं
to,
बोलना।
Hmm.
I just want to quickly just tell you some of the books that I've read. Just a few, like I've read like some 15, 16 of them. I'll just recommend the best that I've.
Oh, sorry, Kautuk. हाँ, pace yourself. I think
हाँ नहीं नहीं सारा नहीं
15-16, बस 15-16 अभी तक.
नहीं नहीं. So in the horror में there are a few books. Arnab Ray has come out with a book called Shakchuni. Very interesting. Set in pre-independence India about a witch. But is she? So do check that out.
Why don't they make movies based on just these books if they're so
Good.
like this is such an interesting premise?
Yeah, it is. It is very, very
Bro,
fun
what's
book.
her name? Reese Witherspoon has started doing this now, where she
Yeah,
basically has a book club,
billion
and
dollar.
then
Yeah,
बहुत पैसा कमा लिया है भाई उसने। दे डिस्कस बुक्स दिस दैट, फिर वो बुक को लेके वो बना देती है पिक्चर या शो। एंड ग्रेट ग्रेट वे
because the
दिस
book
समथिंग।
becomes a bestseller. She owns the rights to the book. The book becomes a bestseller because of the podcast. Then the rights of the book sell for 10 times the amount she paid for. It's an incredible business model. She's
वेरी
making the
नाइसली
book
डन।
popular to sell the rights.
Yeah.
या
The horror में एक और book है if you like slightly weirder fiction, existential fiction, existential horror. The book called A Collapse of Horses by Brian Evanson. Very good short stories. Some of them are interlinked. Very interesting.
Hmm.
Last Man and Tower I've recommended. A few Indian authors and books that I must recommend to you. So there is Education of Yuri by Jerry Pinto. Outstanding book. Boy comes of age in the 80s in Mumbai. John Updike's Witches of Eastwick I read now, which I really liked. Waiting for the Mahatma by R.K. Narayan. Love this book. Love this book because it's like I don't even know how to, like a simple story is basically ki a good for nothing guy living in Malgudi finds out that Mahatma Gandhi is coming to Malgudi and how his life intersects
ओह
with Mahatma Gandhi and how it describes the nation at the precipice of getting independence. Mahatma Gandhi comes across as such a beautiful character, and primarily because he's seen by all these other, you get to see the Mahatma from all these other perspectives, which make him a 360-degree, like some people like him,
Yeah.
some people don't like him, they support him, don't support him. It's beautifully done. Do check it out. Age of Vice by Deepthi Kapoor. It is, it's a tome. Okay. So go into it, but it's a very quick read. It's noir. Thakur, you might enjoy it. I'm sorry. Sorry, Thakur.
बनेगी बनेगी पिक्चर, देखूंगा फर्स्ट डे।
It's a Netflix show waiting to happen that is in book form currently. So please dekh lo. And the last book is this book called Rag Darbari by Srilal Shukla. It's satire of mammoth proportions. It satirizes India in the 60s and 70s in language that in language and thought that has not been taught. Like it's very, very good. So do check it out. And a lot of it, sadly, is still relevant today. So as he
चलो
makes fun of the government, he makes fun of society, makes fun of institutions, all of it. Unfortunately, अब आज तक
चल रहा है।
yeah.
तो मेरे पास भी एक
One
क्विक
book.
क्विक लिस्ट।
हाँ,
हाँ बुक, तू बुक पढ़
तो
ले।
books हाँ, मैं कौतुक को बस है because I've already gotten Kautuk a little converted on theater, so maybe I'll get him converted onto sci-fi books.
Oh, that will
So
be I
Kautuk,
know that.
please just pick up one book from Blake Crouch.
Blake Crouch. Okay.
हाँ, ब्लेक क्राउच। ठाकुर तू देख सकता है डार्क मैटर ऑन एप्पल टीवी, सो वो
देख लिया।
हाँ, तो बट रीड द बुक कौतुक इफ यू नॉट सीन डार्क मैटर, वॉच दैट और वॉच रिकर्जन, सॉरी रीड रिकर्जन. It's based on memory, like science with like insane effects on how the brain functions with science. Like it's very quantum physics.
Shall check out.
Yeah, Dark Matter was like that. But quick list of other shows slash movies. I won't go into explaining, but I will just say it
You
from the ones
recommend it, basically.
which I've not recommended yet. One is a show called Search Party, really good show. Presumed Innocent, The Better Sister, Poker Face by Natasha Lyonne, very very nice show. Sweet Pea, again very wakda, where a girl who's seemingly always overlooked and not really given too much attention is not who you think she is. Like
Jennifer Garner.
she can no. I forget the actress's name. It's like
she's the one from that Fallout. She's the lead actress from Fallout, I think.
No. I don't know her name, but anyway. Then there's Black Doves, which is what's her name? Keira Knightley is in it. Then she has said shit on Mountainhead. I already shat on Mountainhead. Ginny and Georgia, Department Q, new show that's out on Netflix. Again, police investigative procedural type, but Scottish and very very nicely done. Like you think it's going here, but then it goes there, then it goes. You know where every episode you think you've caught the killer, but you really haven't. Type situation. Bad Monkey, I think I've already recommended before. Day of the Jackal, very very nice. The Residence, it's another investigative type situation which has got Giancarlo Esposito in it, who's Gus from Breaking Bad.
Speaking of
she's in it.
Esposito, please also watch Abigail. Superb. It's a horror film.
The horror film, yeah. Superb. वही मस्त था. Then Deli Boys हो गया. Slow Horses भी बोल दिया पहले. Dope Thief, Gangs of London. Lot of like British stuff coming in, which is really really good. और फिर उससे ज्यादा भी जो याद आएगा मैं डाल दूंगा कमेंट्स में. बट अभी के लिए तो इतना था. मजेदार है. पहले इतना तो देख लो जो हम लोग बोल रहे हैं. तुम लोग को 1.5 साल तक चलेगा जितना रेकमेंड किया है अभी के लिए. तो पहले वो देख लो. और Aadar, you have anything to recommend before we finito?
I just have been watching a lot of Dragon Ball Daima, which is God knows how many episodes, but it is my favorite thing. If I can't think of something, I just switch on Dragon Ball Daima. I've found out that people who are watching anime, Toyotaro is ending super. There are rumors that he might move on to another manga, which is something very sad for everybody. So yes, ये मैं थोड़ा news update for people who are anime and manga fans.
क्या बात है. मजेदार. सही है. Guys, anything else कि समाप्त करें episode?
Great, very good. I think.
All right, guys, that's the end of this episode of the Internet Said So. This was Binge List Part 5, where we've recommended some of our favorite films, shows, books, etc. from the recent past or back in the day that we have watched. If you guys have any recommendations that we've not done here, let us know in the comments. Do go check it out. And once again, thank you for MUBI for sponsoring this video. Guys, the membership link is in the comments. So वो भी जाके कर लो और एक MUBI को thumbs up दे दो. And we'll see you again next week. Until then, it's goodbye. Take care. Tata. Salamesh. Buy tickets. Ticket खरीदो.
Buy tickets.
Like, share, subscribe भी करो. But tickets खरीदो. Please. Thank you.
Guys, मेरा एक binge list तो मैं कभी बताता ही नहीं हूँ because this is my binge list. Thank you everybody who shares these videos with me.
गर्मी बहुत.
It's just them sitting having pani puri. But these are things like, they're not monkey facts. It's just I want to just like people who just keep sending me these videos. Thank you. They're very entertaining to me. These
But
are
I
my
love how
binge list.
I love how these monkeys know how to make pani puri. And ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ कच्चा पूरी खा रहा है. वो सब डाल रहा है मीठा, जलजीरा.
Bro, ये लोग pro हैं. Meaning at the end of this they'll turn around. भाई साहब
सूखा पूरी. मजेदार.